So, I'm sure he was pretty frustrated with me in that time too. So, like I said, it was just me trusting that he wanted me to eat. He did want me to eat. Because, I was thinking like, okay, the word says man should not live by bread alone, but he gave us food. And I was just like, no, I need to fast some more. I just need to fast some more. So just trusting that, he wanted to take care of me. He wanted me to be well and look well and not be in a place of any longer. So it was really hard to move past that. But as I began to trust him more and have the faith to believe that God can still work through me
Yeah.
without me fasting all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what really helped.
We walk through it with you, baby.
All right. So would you say one of your issues was trust in that moment, in that season?
Yes.
Trust. Okay.
Trust God.
Amen.
I remember in my moment of weakness, it was right before I joined this ministry. And, I was really in a down state. And I was at the point that, when you get like that, sometimes it's even hard to pray or it's hard to do anything, right? And my faith, to answer the question, regardless of what I have endured, in my life, we all have a story, right? I've always felt that rock solid foundation, no matter what. I knew even when I was in my down time, he was there. I never ever doubted that he had left me. It was me. I was the one. And just knowing that, just having that faith and that belief and that relationship and all that goes with that, you could be in a down state, but yet you still can have that confidence, even though it is, sometimes you don't feel that. But when you know that you know that you know, and it came from a time years ago when I remember very clearly in a moment I was in a very chaotic moment, and during that time, and it was a specific incident actually, and the Lord said to me in the middle of all the chaos, he said, Jackie, look over your shoulder. And I looked back over my shoulder, and he said, what do you see? And I saw, and you'll be able to get the visual of this when I explain it to you. I saw this huge concrete slab, and since then, this was many years ago, before Narnia ever was shown. But remember, if you all see the Narnia movie where the lion, he's on that slab and it breaks? That's exactly the way it looked. And not broken, it was solid rock. And I knew that I knew that I knew. And ever since then, no matter how hard it's been, I've had that assurance, and my faith in that, in him being there for me has always carried me through.
Amen.
So for me, one thing that is trusting in God in my season of weakness, is just having the belief that no matter what's going on, no matter how chaotic things may look or feel or be, my trust in God is gonna always outtrump all of that, right? And then another thing that kind of just got me through my season of weakness is just waiting, being steadfast, right? And when you look up the word wait, it means to stay in place in expectancy of something.
Yeah.
So no matter what it looks like, guys, you just have to wait. Just like that slab, the cement.
Amen. I was thinking about weakness. The first thing that comes to my mind, back in 2016, I was getting ready to go and do something that I know I wasn't supposed to be doing. And I was in my car, and I was driving to the place, and it was in another city, actually. And I was on my way there. But that was my weakness. But how can I say this? I was getting ready to go and fornicate with someone, and I knew that I'm a woman of God, but I knew that I wasn't supposed to do this kind of thing, and I felt that I was that I could not go and do that thing. So I felt like I had to go and do it. I was letting my flesh make me do it, and all of that. But that was a weakness of mine that I knew that I had to, turn away from. I had to turn around and do the opposite of that. So one thing that I really learned from that is that when you are in your weakness and you are professing yourself to be a woman of God or a man of God, when you're in that kind of weakness that I'm speaking of, is that you know that you have to turn around. You know that you have to depend on the Lord. You know you have to obey Him, but at the same time, you're fighting with your flesh. So one of the things that really helped me was to recognize that no matter what I was going through, no matter what I was doing, and the point of that is that God did not like put me down, or He didn't stomp on me or say, like people do.
That's
He
right.
didn't do any of that. It was just He was there with me, and I think He already knew that it was going to change. I was going to change, and I was going to do. But let me tell y'all something. That was the very last time that I had to endure that kind of weakness, because I knew that God was there with me at the time.
Amen.
And when you're going through your weakness, that was really painful for me. It was hurting to me, because I knew that the person that I was getting ready to go do this thing with was out there with a whole bunch of other women, and just doing all kind of stuff, and treating me like a dog, and doing, everything. But I knew that before I got in my car to go there, right? I knew it, but I don't know what was going on. But to make a long story short, it's the feeling that you get when you know that God is with you, even when you're doing something wrong. And then me looking at the situation right now that you asked me, I'm like, wow, how did I come out of that? And it's all because of God. It's all because He loves me, and He loves you, and He wants you to move forward. He wants you to do better in your life. He wants you to do these things that He had predestined and preordained for you to do.
Yeah.
And one point that I want to make to everybody is that you're going to have your situations, right? You're going to have your situations, but God is going to be there with you. He's going to be there with you, and you are going to be able to move forward. And don't beat yourself up about it. The whole time I was crying because I knew that I needed to not go there, right? And I did turn around, and I did not go. But I was just thinking, like, really? This person doing this to me, and I'm going to go over there? This person treat me like this, and I'm going to go over there? And it was just your mind, your flesh fighting against the Spirit of the Lord. And the Spirit inside of you. It's your flesh fighting against the Spirit. But I just want to tell you that you're going to have your times, and you just got to go through it. You just got to go through it and declare to yourself. And I remember that day I declared to myself that I will never be treated like that again.
All right.
And I would never allow myself to be treated like that again. And God gave me the strength to do that. Like His strength was made good of my weakness, and that's why I'm here today doing what I'm doing now. And forward, 2016 to 2023, I've been non-fornicator, none of that. Amen.
Amen.
So it is